the guided psychic messages for the Twin Flame Collective. It has been a while, and the energy of you guys is really noisy up in my grill at the moment. So whenever I end up getting blocks in one area, it's like, okay, what are all these signs? And it comes to me, and then I need to do the guided meditation and come to you guys live. Now, for those of you that are regular clients, if I'm feeling anything, 9 times out of 10, I will touch base with you, check in with you. And there's been common themes coming through at the moment when it does come through to the Twin Flame Collective. And a lot of you could have circumstances that are playing out from eons ago. So you might have really been reflecting back to even 4 years ago. Some of the circumstances, it can be even karmic situations to a degree. So welcome to those of you in the room. Yes, the camera is turned. It will be turned around again in a moment. But I just want to bring you some of these guided messages that I've been having. Now, some of you may have been having little purges, so to speak, maybe even a little bit of bloating. And again, it feels like it's the lower chakras. It's more, to do with our foundation, to do with our stability and who we're directly tapping in with. Circumstances relating to such can really be coming up for a lot of you twins at the moment. And this can be even karmic cycles from the past coming back in some shape or form that you're either reflecting about or looking back at and even meditating upon, so to speak. How are we all? Who have we got in the house? Well, I'm trying to... How are we all? Yes, I'm live. The camera's around at the moment because I'm being naughty, but after that I'll turn the camera around. But I am here, nevertheless, and I do have my cards ready to go. I felt it was long overdue for a reading. I have been pretty bombarded. Some of you don't know that I am going to be incorporating the romance readings. And I'm also fine-tuning the astrology to a more humanistic approach so that you guys can get your astrology, joy of vehicles. Don't know why in the evening it's always more busy than in the daytime. Yeah, so you'll get inside your zodiac signs. It'll talk about your chakras. It'll talk about your health and what's coming up with your love zone. Tools maybe that you can deal with. Maybe dates that can come up. Hi, love. So at the moment, let's have a talk about it. Many of you at the moment, due to the fact that we do have Venus in Capricorn, you're going to have themes coming up relating to the past. And hi, Dawn. So themes relating to the past can even be connected to your employment. Now, synchronistically enough, we're also intuitively probably going to we can feel this agitation, this nervousness of a change coming up. And Uranus and Taurus tends to make us feel very, very nervous. Now, with that, you need to follow your intuition as to what some of those changes may be inside your life. And I will channel the elements to see what will come through for each one. Now, big themes at the moment are blasts from the past, and this can react either in the 3D or from the 5D like a Venus retrograde. Because we have Venus in Capricorn, it's returns of those circumstances. Moreover, as Uranus and Taurus goes direct, synchronistic events to August in 2020 can be coming up. So pay attention to those circumstances in your life, and they can be sudden changes. For some people, it's their work, it's their career, it's their connection with their twin flame. It's, where maybe you were back then versus where you are now. So how have we all been feeling? Number one, I have been seeing songs coming through very much from the masculine's point of view. Psychically speaking, it's almost like the masculine is feeling you are not showing your emotions, and the feminine is feeling everything is enabled to change, and it's wishful thinking. And that's from the songs that I've actually been guided to of most late. And this sleeping energy has been horrendous. It's been kind of up and down and, almost like we are in Mars and Aries still, but we're not. And a lot of us, because Mars has transited, it's sort of like adjusting to that energy. It's fast-paced movement, but it's self-esteem energy. So Anything where you feel you need to get your cash in order, you need to get your self-esteem in order, the lower chakras are directly going to be implicated, because from a manifestation point of view, if your lower chakras aren't balanced, it can really block it, and then it's moving back up to the heart. So for feminines, at an emotional level, we are reaching the new moon, and it will be your new beginning, so to speak. You're having a rebirth in that area. But emotionally speaking, it does for a lot of you. It kind of feels 50-50. In one breath, it feels like you're leaving a soldier behind. In the other, you're leaving the old story behind. That's what you're leaving behind. Not necessarily the circumstance, but more over the old vibration that you don't resonate with any longer. So that can make you feel very unsettled. I have had a few people tell me that they have been waking up in their sleep crying. I have experienced that as well, and that's not necessarily now, but yes, from a soul purgatory experience you can, and they're unexpressed emotions. And currently we do have Mercury in Aquarius, so when it comes to that communication, it's feeling, can we actually directly communicate? Is it appropriate? Is it not? How do we directly communicate with them? So yeah, it can be themes to that. Hi Thomas, I will turn the camera around in a minute. And I'm sorry I haven't been here live more so. And I am rejigging the channel a bit. I want to get it really to a format so you have your regular content. So please feel free. I'm going to put a little questionnaire up as to the style of videos you want. Now, with the astrology, I've taken note that I do need to get it to a point that I know all of you guys tune into love. So number one, we need to look at the romance domain. We also need to look at our cash component, our career sector, and our health vibration. So I'm going to try and change the astrology, be it it's going to be every second week, like one stint that goes for 2 weeks, another stint that goes for 2 weeks, so you get 2 a month, and then I pop the romance reads in between. But I need to, and I'm trying to get it to a conversational piece to give you the best out of that with tips, tools and tricks, because it does benefit you. As much as we do tap into love and we do want to know, this is part of our soul path as well. And from my experience reaching union, understanding the astrology and working through your ascension process has been the key to my success in my twin flame journey. So that's why I give that to you guys, is so that you can move through your ascension path a lot faster and effectively. I guess it helps, I'm telling you. Yeah, the flashbacks are due to the fact that we do have Venus in Capricorn, so it can be a purgatory effect of us feeling, gosh, in hindsight, do you resonate with that anymore? Would have you reacted that way? Would you have reacted differently? You don't want to repeat that pattern. It was very karmic in nature. It's the devil card in the tarot. So a lot of us can have that fair base frequency relating to our relationships at the moment, and relating to even our workplace. Like, are we going to be okay with Mars and Taurus? It's us trying to be able to co-create an income. So emotionally, spiritually, physically, those things through our ascension process are coming, and it's only natural that we would feel agitated. Now, by the time we do reach the new moon in Capricorn, just give yourself a day. Some people do say manifest, but remember, some of that energy is coming back from 2017, 18, 19. So we're purging that, and we're just having a soul check-in when it relates to it. And yet again, at the end of the year, we will have a Venus retrograde, and it's going to be inside the house of Capricorn. So what we're looking at right now is in our soul contracts, when we connect in with them, what is the responsible action we on our side of the fence must take? And you've got to remember that the moon technically is related to feminine, and the sun is relating to masculine. So it's all of us collectively getting into yin yang. Plus we have the south node in Sagittarius. So that is really linked to the masculines, and it does mean that in fact the masculines are changing. And sometimes you may feel, you observe a situation and you feel they haven't changed, but it happens within first, then without. So try to trust that process, but understand it is a very personal process. And as we all know through the spiritual path, it's not easy, number one, but number two, at times it really doesn't feel like a choice. I'll turn the camera around 1 minute if I can work out how to do that again. There it is. I don't look flash, but nevertheless, I'm here. So through the ascension process, you can sort of going into it at times, you can feel, I might just tap out of this journey, and then you go through your ascension process. Hi, Chris. But there's really not a choice. So you've really got to step away from the ego for a moment and look at it and understand that, sometimes your fair base and your egoic experience, because Mercury is thought and speech, you may be feeling as though there's no chance in heck that that will ever happen with your divine masculine. But you've got to remember, we didn't really have choices when it came to our transformation. So it's egoic to believe everything's going to stay the same. There's nothing that consistent, to be quite frank. But yes, those things from the astrology are moving us. And again, because we've got second house placement with Mars, if you are eating a lot but then feeling full all of a sudden, Mars is direct, plus it's in Taurus. So you might feel you're kind of funky when you're trying to eat, and it's just not, food don't taste that good. It does, but you can't quite put your finger on it. So you need to be careful. You may crave sweets more so because, Mars and Taurus is actually a Venus element, so you may be more inclined to go to the candy jar or go to the maybe yogurt or ice cream. It's just something sweet and tantalizing, but it depends on what your cup of tea is, really. Back to go with the big ego. Yes, I did have a beautiful person that donated money to me, and whoever you are, thank you. Let's have a look at what's coming through. It's true. Yeah, so this sweet tooth has been going crazy due to Mars. So it's like, okay, let's transfer that frequency into creative energy. And I highly suggest from emotions, start journaling. Understand that this transit at the moment where we are, emotions relating to our past tense relationships coming up. Emotions relating to, and they can be super positive where we liberate because we just feel we don't resonate with the circumstance and the way we're relating to it. But there's a lot of meditation and a lot of ego. And when I say ego, it doesn't mean, you're being a sod. It means that you're thinking, right? That's okay. So we're thinking through that third eye. We're trying to understand that process as to what was versus what is. Now, emotions, and this is quite unique of what's come through. And I'll read the card. Law of Attraction deck. The law of attraction responds to thoughts, not realities. So sometimes we can actually say, hey, this journey's actually quite stagnated. Like, why is that happening? And we are a vibration, so you have to look at yourself as a battery. When we're depleted and we're in that purgatory state, we're operating through the ego and the pain body experience. We don't directly attract, like the laws of attraction, great things. And the higher into your ascension process, you don't manifest either. And I'll tell you the reasons why. And I had a beautiful subscriber that booked a reading the other day, and she was agreeing with me. So big shout out. She's in Melbourne. And we were talking about the manifestation aspect. And this year in 2021, I'm really hoping to have a lot of interviews, on the show so that you guys can get different people's perspectives and experiences. So it's not just me talking all the time, and we can see what their experiences have been because they're all relevant. And in this process, we were both exchanging the viewpoints relating to manifestation. And the reality is, the higher in your ascension path you get, the funny thing is you've been manifesting at all times. But 9 times out of 10, you're manifesting to the laws of attraction of all your fair-base frequencies. And there is a certain reason why, obviously, they are embedded in your auric field. And the funny thing is, a lot of you may be asking yourself through this path, why do all these things have to happen? Prior to union, and why do they happen? Like, I don't understand why they happen. And the funny thing is, I can honestly tell you, everything I fed inside my connections and my twin flame path directly occurred because I fed it. So I did learn very quickly on the piece, and that when I was thinking it, even vibrating it, it would directly occur. So I had to tune out extremely quickly. And then at a higher ratio, when you do get into that very strong manifestation, which it is the laws of attraction, you're dragging it to you, you literally won't think good or bad. You will allow. You will be in the given moment. And I described it to a client this morning, is we spend 90% of our time in the past or the future, and maybe about 10% in the present. It takes a lot to get to that transformed state that you can be present. And there was a moment I had where I was sitting there and I was talking about my frustrations in relation to it with a spiritual guru, one of my friends. And I noticed this synchronistic event. And the thing was, my soul was screaming for stillness. And in that stillness, I realized, and this has been coming up largely this week for me as well, so potentially it can be coming up for you guys. When you're interconnecting with Gaia source energy, you will be connected to everything, and we are. So on the path, they do say we're connected to everything, and the reality is we are at all times. So when you're away from them, you feel their vibration, you're connected. When you're in pain, you feel theirs, you're an empath. So you learn to transform and upgrade your energy to a point that you won't need smudge sticks. You won't need to create healthy boundaries in a firm space, because you will observe like you're watching a painting and a direct situation playing out, but you won't allow it to affect your frequency. So there will be no longer any fear to interact with individuals, because it does not define you anymore. And you are like a Buddhist monk, so to speak. So when you go through these circumstances, you have attracted them due to a blockage in your auric field. So when we say doing the work, you will get to a point you will bust yourself doing it, because you will not want to attract that any longer. So if there's a blockage coming up, you will no longer sweep it under the carpet. You will deal with it. So like the laws of attraction, you don't continue to attract it. So a lot of people can say, why do these circumstances keep playing out in my life? It's because you have a pain body relating to it, and you fear that it's going to keep happening. So that, again, it keeps coming, okay? So we're looking at this right now with Venus in Capricorn. And again, it's the devil in the detail, isn't it? It's the devil card in the tarot. So we are very afraid. And yes, we are having a full moon in Leo. So the full moon in Leo can be from a heart chakra point of view, and it can be an egoic point of view. We're purging a certain perspective, but we're going to have those new energies. And it will feel, if you guys are super busy at the moment, between now and March, you're going to feel like you're running on a treadmill. You're going to be using a lot of energy. And the reason is because Mars is pushing you towards your creative endeavors. You know, connect in with Earth at the moment. Also, try not to look outside yourself, which is really difficult, especially at the moment for feminines, as we do have, you know, Juno transiting, I believe it's in Sagittarius. So we're pretty much mirroring the masculine. And I have seen several, what do you call it, synchronistic situations coming. One has been moth. So at the moment, either feminines or masculines are staying up quite late at night. And if masculines are sleeping, they're in the astro body, they're on the 5D. They're doing the internalization and observing, but each party counterpart is purging to a degree. And it doesn't have to be a very toxic thing, but it is something coming up to be cleared out energetically. Nausea has been coming up as well, due to the Ascension symptoms. And yes, you know, if you ever see it, just go and check the Schumann resonance, and it's going to check where the frequency is. When we're intuitively tuning into things, it can spike because we're ascending. But it's more so when we're panicked, it can come up where it's really raising, especially if we're purging something after the purge, it will spike because we've released that process. What else do we need to know? Now this one come up in reverse, you know, and it doesn't have to be, it's reversed. It came out sideways. Look, I'm catching my misalignment. I am learning to catch my misalignment early. Okay, you know, you guys may find that you get into your trigger, you're in it and you're like, oh, get back out again, but it can be bothering, okay, because we're in, we're out, we're in, we're out. But you may not know where that energy's come from, and it can feel very split. There can be an imbalance to do with the masculine or the feminine inside of ourselves. But it's work. It is really doing the work. Yeah, it's like after we've dealt with something and we've like worked through that trigger, the Schumann spikes. It always does it, because I always check it and it's like, I've already gone through that. And it's usually, you know, 5 days before for me, and it's like, oh, I've worked through that already. And then synchronistically, my clientele will go through similar things, and I'll be able to mention what those things are because I've already moved through it. Creating a different body story. I'm telling you, it's like we're shifting our vibration right now. Now, as I said, because it's Mars, and Mars tends to, in our astrology, we can project, right? So from a feminine's point of view, Mars inside your chart will be what you're attracted to in a male, but you don't tend to get it, right? And it's transiting Taurus at the moment. So a lot of us from a Venus element, a grounded, earth-based, financially stable person, we're being asked to integrate that inside ourselves. And the crazy thing is, the one thing I have learned on Twin Flame Path, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but this is what I've seen, and I'd love to hear your feedback, but this has been, and it could be because of the nodes and charts, you know, that can be our life path of what we're supposed to look at. Many of you will not be able to be codependent. So when it does come to your finances, your hopes, your dreams, it's handy to work on that, because it's something that you can add to the connection. And because we have such heavy Pluto energy at the moment, both energies are letting things go, but you're coming together to build up. So the build up is going to be that we're bringing those things in. I ate a bunch of hot peppers, garlic and oranges cleansed. Yeah, I've been on the sushi. Twin's been enjoying pizza. He loves his pizza. But yes, he's been on the health kick too. We're trying to. Very tired at the moment. Mars makes everyone, I think the Ascension with Mars is the transit. It's just shifted over. And each time I've had a massive, you know, transformation, I've got to a point where my iron's gone down. So, you know, make sure you get everything in order. Renewal of peace. Okay, there's something that is disturbing us from the past, and I think it's the thought process. It's really the thought process of, you know, is this going to repeat? When is this moving? Has it stayed the same? And some of you are purging just the really ugly stories. You know, you're like, why did that have to happen for? The funny thing is, once you have all these things and you've addressed your fears inside your auric field and in 3D, nothing can scare you. And that's a very dangerous place to be, but it's a very beautiful place to be as well. And I guess because both of you are divine in nature, your souls are strong enough to handle it, but you will utilize that information and that wisdom with humbleness, not with the danger of manifesting at a very toxic level, if you understand what I'm saying. Yeah, well, look, I in my path, we've seen the good and the bad and the ugly in our connection, and we're very non-codependent. We're also, we can at times laugh about those things. And it sort of, I had the most interesting dream last night, and I told my twin, he was laughing at me, he says, woman, you're crazy. And I said to him, you ran away with Kesha. Kesha was chatting you up. And he goes, who? And I said, one of your friends was crying over his wife, but he wanted a hug from me. And I was like, what are you doing here? It was crazy. Really weird dreams. Make a decision. Ooh. Feminines, I think you're faced with a decision. And I would say many of you are feeling that way. Facing a shadow. My career and finances is finally feeling stable. That's good. Okay, so they're making a decision. And look, Black Moon Lilith is in Taurus. So again, you know, there's changes, right? And the changes can even come by the 14th, and they can be very sudden. So Uranus and Taurus is probably going to wreak havoc on us this year. Just when we think we've got that foundation right, bang, it's changed. So, you know, but be flexible. The way I explained it to Angela is be like a wheat in the fields. You are the wheat at the top of the stem, and the wind is blowing. Now, over here is the past. Over here is the future. Now, as it's flowing, sometimes when doors close, we tend to, in an egoic way, hold on to that stem, right? No, we're staying here. This is where we belong. But the crazy thing is, what happens when wheat dries? It blows in the wind and it moves. It drops down in the soil, and within the right conditions, it can regrow again. So those doors open when they're correct. But sometimes I've noticed on my path, if there's a circumstance or something blocking me, I stop, and on maybe 2-3 day, I need to get into my ascended state again, get grounded and anchored in. There could be something I'm missing, and once I do, when I release and let go of the control, bang, things move and doors open. And I think I described that to a subscriber. So this decision, what we're doing at the moment is there's darkness behind the feminine, but she's in her intuition mode, right? She's in her 5D. This guy with the bike drives me crazy. Anyhow, 8 out of 26 likes for these. Okay. Yeah, it's quite funky the way things are showing up at the moment. Okay, make a decision. So at the moment, the golden path of ascension, we do get to a point that when we are ascending, we're making a choice, but you're looking at the past and you're looking at the future, okay? So you kind of split at the moment, and it's perfectly normal. So to a degree, many of you are very happy in the fashion that you're living your life and the things you're doing. Some of you are wanting to spread your wings and move. This can be a physical house. It can be away from the circumstance. It can be away from twin flame or directly to twin flame. But whatever this shadow energy is, I want you guys to just wait. And the reason I say this is because this moon phase where we're at, the moon is transiting through Scorpio, so a lot of us can be very intuitive, very psychic at the moment, and then moving over to Sagittarius. So with that frequency, it's the South Node. We're having to do something a little bit differently. But it's also relating to the masculine. You've got to understand they're going to be different too. And, you know, the same circumstance can't happen again because you're not the same person. So I do feel many of you, whatever the circumstances, wherever you are, how you're going to directly relate to it, at the moment there can be this very testing energy of push-pull, and you're kind of going, okay, I think I want to move forward. Do I just leave this behind? Am I delusional relating to this? And some of you may, and I'd say more the first wavers, can be very detached associated with it. Very detached, very matter of fact. If it is, it is. If it isn't, it isn't. You know, you've been there, done that. The others of you, there could be, again, you're really getting to that point. You're about to liberate yourself and really start shifting a lot of that energy over to yourself. And the third wave is your situations will be completely different as well. What do we need to know, please? Okay, some of you are feeling you need to heal the circumstance, but you don't know how to. And the thing is, you don't need to heal it. You need to trust it. And I wouldn't even say trust it. Some of us have gone into these circumstances being natural healers, but sometimes it's like if you're tuning into what would need to change, what they'd need to do, detach from the time, detach from the space, what it is they'd need to do. Because while you're doing that, you're doing the work for them. If you can detach from it, you'll find it'll flow quicker. None of my business, but if I may suggest, just let him be. Yeah. Eagle medicine. So look, if you guys are feeling you don't want to know, it makes sense, right? Because it's eagle medicine. It's like rising above the situation to heal it. If they can, if they can't, it's completely their ascension process. And the thing is, if you look at yourself and you're directly the mirror, theoretically, then if you've been able to heal yourself, if you're feeling you can't heal them, it's the same principle as being on an airplane and the airplane's going down. What does the air hostess say to you? Put your mask on first. You can't help anyone else if you can't help yourself. So the shadow side can be, is have we helped ourselves? Are we, you know, what is that's coming out with us right now that potentially could be taking us to that journey, and would it really serve us? Now, point blank zero, I will be honest with you, until we move through this moon cycle, a lot of that old embedded energy is coming up. So your trigger points, it can be blasts from the past, it can be karmic situations from the past, it can be disputes and fights. There's tension energy due to the fact we have so many squares in astrology. We're also having opposition points and quincunx energy, so this week will be tough. Purgatory energy can be there, but it's more through physical fatigue. So try and get grounded through that process. Also, if it does come to, and I'm seeing the lower chakras for feminine. So I would directly say, balance your lower chakras. Try and move into that detox energy. I'm doing the best I can with masks. It's really not working for me. But that's more from the energy frequency because I need an iron infusion. You know? Talking stick. I'd say it's more throat chakra, okay? Aquarius energy wants to empathically help everyone, okay? And the emotions, because you feel it's out of your control, we could be consuming. But then Mars is going to stop us because we just feel full right away. Let's get a card per element. So yes, if you have circumstances from the past, it can be a test. We can look at those, and it's not right or wrong, no matter what you choose. It's not. There can be very low frequency energies around because the energy is there. And for those of you in astrology, if you're a Capricorn, I would not be surprised if you are going through it big time. Now, this month is going to be hard for you guys, but you are going to have it lighter. You're going to be the most assertive Capricorns out there I've ever seen, because the only thing you're going to have there is Pluto. So Pluto's just going to be like, are you in or you're out, right? You're in or you're out. You're going to get deep and meaningful with me? Great. You're not? Okay, goodbye. You're just not going to, because you've had Saturn, you've had Jupiter there, you've had Pluto there. Oh, was Jupiter there? Yeah, you've had heavy hitting placements, man. So it's only natural that you guys are really going through the thick of it. Yeah, you know, just be really nice to yourselves in Aquarius. You guys, you know, everyone's like, oh yeah, you know, we're in the age of Aquarius. They're going to be having fun. No, not necessarily. Why? Because some of them can be having a sudden return. And currently, they've got Capricorn on their 12th, and it's a return of that energy yet again. And they're going, really? So if you've got Capricorn, you know, teens or anything, or you've got a twin that is an Aquarius or a Capricorn, just bear that in mind. It's hard yards at the moment. Now, Aries and Libra, you guys are going to have a bit of a break from the heavy frequency, so if anything, you're probably really recouping. Who else? Yeah, I'll have to really look at the charts anyway. Yeah, it's just like, you're probably going, oh my God, I'm thinking too much. So you may feel, Aquarius, it's your job to be there for everyone. Save the world. Nope. Okay, and we will react like you now. So if anything, you will serve the collective, because we are infants in this. So the way we'll be coming through is very much like, okay, I kind of feel like I'm not doing what the tribe wants me to do. I mean, I've had that thing happen this week. Yeah, it's because Mars has left your first house. You're like, yeah, Mars anyway, but you're just like, oh God, now I can chill. Because egoically, what you would have been doing is really caning yourself, well, you need to level up. You're not good enough. You need to do this and that. And it's might have been very Virgo in nature coming through. So Aries and Libra, you guys are having a little bit of a break. But now, you know, with that, you're trying to recover. And it might be through the Ascension process, eating to get that energy back. Okay, so this is air signs, obviously. Hi, Yildiz, lovely. Yeah, well, I've missed you guys. Okay, so you guys are getting your strength back, right? We're getting our strength back. And this month we potentially could have third eye going on due to the fact that we have Mercury in Aquarius. So when it comes to the bigger group, the people we're working with, the people around us, we're tuning into too many things, right? But we're also air energy. So the air elements will feel better in this, but everyone is still adjusting. So for air signs, at the moment, you're having the strength and you're building up that strength. So I got this download today. It was like, if you find you're eating a lot, whatever you're going to do this year is going to be a lot. So it could potentially be coming up due to the fact you're going to need the energy for what you're about to do. Right? Okay. And we'll go back and I'll pull more cards, providing my phone doesn't die on me. Warm the soul, Jen. I didn't even ask for. Okay. Water signs. What do water signs need to know? Animals are being very... Oh, boy. Okay, water signs. You guys are letting go of something. And look, Black Moon Lilith is in Taurus. So, again, there's something you're letting go of, right? Yeah, doing the shadow work, it could be facing a shadow, can be embarrassing situations, looking at the past, whatever it is for you personally. There is something of the past where maybe you were feeling a bit left in the dark, not knowing really what everything was. Now, the funny thing is the moon energy, you guys innately are governed by the moon. If you feel you're having like a soul walk and it's feeling all sorts of yucky, again, 10, something to do with leaving the past behind to move into a solid connection. Most of you water signs are really going to get to a point you're not going to tolerate anything but a benchmark. So you're going to be pretty darn strict on yourselves going, okay, I thought I was getting caviar with that, and now you've given me cat food, and that really wasn't on my menu. So it sort of feels like you guys almost completing the 10, you're getting to a point you're like, look, something from the past, there was a missing link, and I think it was you, really you in the mix of maybe it was giving to everyone else. Pisces at the moment, you guys going through the same thing. You need to be careful of burnout. Because you have Aquarius on the 12th, you can lead yourself to burnout, doing too much for people, and you do need to make that healthy boundary. And that does come down to self and going, okay, have I got my life in order? Aeroplane analogy. And if I have, then yeah, I can share. But that humanitarian energy coming through in all of us is going to be, I've got to tidy up, I've got to do everything over here. And it's like a bit OCD. It's like, calm down, let's ease into this. Thank God we're going to have Mercury going retrograde. We can meditate upon it for a bit to understand what this is going to mean. But for those of you that are twin flames that are water signs, there is something you're letting go of. For the air signs, you guys are getting ready, you're upgrading your frequency to a point you're ready to pounce, and you're going to be moving forward, and you're very territorial, okay? It's like, I'm not playing. Tigress, tiger, whatever, you're coming through assertive. You're going to be a boss in your own energy. You're a boss of your own life. You're in your empowerment energy, and there isn't much that can really push you and force you. Now, I will pull cards for the masculines on top of these as well. Okay, fire signs. Well, that kind of makes sense. Okay, awakening. There could be more communication between both counterparts with the Aries energy. All right? Don't work too hard, Chris. Take care, doll. Okay, so with the awakening, there can be a third eye activation. There can be maybe a bit more intuition coming through. Now that Mars has transited away from that area, those of you, you could be really tuning into things that you want to change. A lot of perspective that you're gaining. Yeah, don't work too hard, Chris. So there also could be something to do with spirituality coming up between you and your counterpart. But we'll pull a clarifier on that. I think you're really focused on your own process. This could even be your own creative pursuits. Some of you also traveling. Earth signs. Oh, funny, I've got 2 for earth signs. You could feel really off. Really off in a sense that you don't trust what you're sensing and feeling, maybe second guessing yourself, which again, for those of you that are going through that, it makes sense because we have several energies relating to Earth that are transiting at the moment. So, and it also can be that you're purging it of control. You're just not controlling things. You're going with it. You're not owning another person's actions. Intuition serves for you, but it doesn't mean to say that we're invincible to circumstances coming up. I know I had an experience in my twin flame path, and in general with people, point blank zero, that I was angry at my intuition for a moment. And the funny thing was, even if my intuition was telling me something was going wrong, I didn't have the power to change that inside another human being. That was their responsibility. So it is about integrating that inside yourself and realizing it's not your job to do such. Just tune into what's going on with you. And I think a lot of you are just trying to get into that very grounded frequency. Now, there is a cycle on counterpart side that is tying up. And some of you may have heard news based on this, and you just don't want to know. You're like, just get it done, right? But yeah, you may feel that vibration, but there is some circumstance surrounding it that is changing. No travel allowed here on lockdown. Yeah, and that can come up due to the fact that we're going to have Mercury going retrograde. And Mercury is in Aquarius, and it could be globally that happens. And that's my prediction. Temporarily. Also, we do have beautiful aspects that potentially could bring a solution to all of this, which I'm sure, it's going to innovate science very largely. And organics and naturopathy and things like that. So it could be a very natural thing too. Fire signs. Whew. Okay, the masculine of the fire signs are gearing up ready to create some healthy boundaries. And this can be walking their truth and getting to a point that they're not taking any BS at the moment. This could be a very interesting week, I would say. Especially because this is the new moon coming up. Okay, water signs. The masculines are giving into this circumstance. They're allowing this to flow. I think they're accepting of it. And there could be a circumstance. It's funny because the card breaks down to a 4. In the yin-yang, in the feminine attributes of things, they're letting an emotion go. And this is for all of us collectively as well as for the masculine, feminine, masculine. Okay, so from the masculine's point of view, they're surrendering and accepting things relating to family and home and circumstances. They might be recouping, they might be spending a lot of time sleeping, upgrading. Again, it's odd because, yes, they are governed by the moon. So all moon phases will directly affect the water energies, especially Cancer. So with this, you'll find their humanistic body is having ascension symptoms, deeply fatigued, tired, maybe eating quite a bit to recoup it, but they can tend to go off food to upgrade, and then the eating will be to moving into the purge, and then going off food, and then sleeping a lot, and then they purge that and they detox that out of their system. So when it comes to recouping, they're doing a lot of recouping at the moment, because I do think there's going to be a lot of forward movement. And inside of their emotional body, there is a circumstance, and the reason why it is like that is because it's coming up in their auric field to purge a previous situation. Could be a contract at work, could be a partner or a dynamic that it was contract related. This can be, yeah, it feels contract related. So whatever that was, they're purging and detoxing those cycles. It's funny, for the fire signs, I do feel a family-related dynamic playing out around them. In their emotional body, they're very awake, and this is what cheeses them off, I think. It's sort of like they are awoken in their emotions. They're very self-aware of their emotions from the empath aspect of things. But from the 3D aspect of things, it has been a real challenge to actually achieve those things. But whatever this is, I think a circumstance is coming up, and it's like, look, I've seen too much, I've dealt with too much, and therefore I know. And it's this forced energy through that ascension process that they physically have to walk their truth, because their crown chakra is too activated. So it comes about, and I do feel it's this week. And from the earth signs, there could be ways relating to them, things done in the dark, things behind their back, not shown to them, maybe not trusting their intuition, that they get cross wires with people. But there has been something that has wounded them. And some of them have had to really watch their back when it does come to individuals around them. So in a circumstantial event now, they just feel that cycle's really got to change, because they don't want to be around those vibrations anymore. They find it like a job, so to speak. It feels like a job to be micromanaging, protecting themselves around these individuals. So I'm not sensing that is something that they're willing to do. I feel really in a cycle, this pressure point that's coming up. And there's a potential for breakups through these connections due to the fact that we have the transits moving into Capricorn, and it's that heavy hitting energy. And especially if they did jump into a karmic relationship last year while we had Mars retrograde, wasn't the best time to be getting into a relationship of a karmic nature. Okay, air signs. Are we all in the house still? Thank you for the likes. The likes are what helps this channel grow, guys. It's also what helps the video around. Strength. Okay, what's the strength and what is the emotion? The masculine is embodying. Whew. Okay. Being in yin yang. In the emotions, they've had to hold it together. This is poker face energy, right? I'm fine, I'm good, I'm beautiful, I'm lovely. On the outside, in their masculine, they're facing that shadow. So inside their emotions, they're holding everything in and they're showing a different energy when it does come to the feminine. Very unique in the way it's coming through. In the masculine aspect of things, they're integrating that shadow. They're realizing that their way in which they're wanting to communicate with you isn't quite on point, if you get what I mean. So those twins that are masculine of air signs, emotionally, maybe showing a poker face, very strong in nature, but wounds deep down. In their masculine, in dealing with their wounds and being able to communicate with you effectively, they're having to face their shadow. Okay, what warnings do we have for this week? We're still alive in the house? What do the air signs need to know? Air sign feminines, please. An immature circumstance may come up. What is that about? About a way a situation was handled. A burden that was handled. But it wasn't, okay? It has been a difficult week. I'm telling you. Oh, thanks, sweet. Has been a difficult week. Okay, at the moment, I'm kind of feeling feminines. You know how this is going to go, okay? But you don't... Something from the past is coming up. You kind of feel something's been hidden from you, but it's not necessarily that something's been hidden from you. You know, most of the circumstances you already had play out. So, if you're moving into that paranoia energy, try and drop it. Try and not, you know, it's hard. But if there's a circumstance playing out around you and you see a mood either coming from your masculine or coming from circular energies, just try and step back. Okay, how are they going to relate to you? Oh, let's see why. Again, back to the cards and how they were. Hi, doll. I think the trickster is, it's not directly to you. I feel it's more, as the cards were saying. They're putting a poker face on. They're saying they're all okay. But there is something of some unfinished business that's come up that they're trying to deal with. And they're trying to put the brave face on. They don't want you to look at them as someone who's indecisive. And it can be they're coming through a little bit like a water sign. We've got our sun, moon, rising, so anything's possible. Okay, yeah, it could be a family, their way they've been raised. I do feel in a way they are getting to a point where they're accepting the fact that they don't have to be like everyone out there. And that it's okay and it's a safe space. Hi, doll. It's a safe space that water signs, they can actually communicate with you. So they're learning this and they potentially haven't had that. But there is a circumstance on their side of the fence that is coming out, feminines. You guys may sense it. And it can be very confusing for them. But it's the Venus in Capricorn is taking us back. The sun, our ego, we're purging away. We saw something. That stuff's coming back. So all these situations from the past are a spiritual test right now. And again, whatever went down around August, go back and look, and it can really be changing or coming back up again this week, because we're having Uranus and Taurus going direct, and that's when it went retrograde. And there's sudden changes and sudden shifts. This can be career, love, or any other circumstance that was really large. It's going to come back onto the table. Okay, water signs, there's an old cycle that is coming up to be dealt with, but there's also a cycle that they weren't meant to be on, and they're reflecting upon that as well because it wasn't part of their cycle. There can be some shape of guilt relating to that. And let's look at their cards that they had. Yeah, facing the shadow relating to that, maybe expectations. Emotionally, they're like, look at, they're not wanting to, what's the word? They can't control it, it can't be changed. They did try and change a circumstance, but nothing was changing. So I think in facing their shadow, they're realising it was emotionally draining. So therefore, why help something or try and move towards changing something if the tower kept falling down? Can't help those that can't help themselves. We were debating this morning, Twin and I. You can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink. That's for masculines. Peace pipe. Yeah, they've made peace with that. You can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink, right? So it's that ego that says, oh, we're going to force upon it. You know, they need to understand we love them. They need to understand X, Y, and Z. Maybe even the term twin, you know. None of that they need to know. It's not, it doesn't define it. The soul connection does. So try not to stress too much about that. Anyway, the theory of leading a horse to water. You can't make it drink. You can't. So why force something? And I think really maybe they were trying to fix this. It was maybe forced upon them. They were forcing it, really trying to make something work. And they're having to make peace with this, because you can lead a horse to water, you can't make a drink. And sometimes we can wish the best for other people that we've had. We could have really maybe felt very guilty that circumstances didn't turn out the way we felt they should. But I think at the moment they are upgrading, dealing with a previous circumstance and trying to make peace with that. How are they going to relate to you? They're going to rise above it. They know at the moment they're acting a little bit icy. I do feel a little bit after the moon phase. Something can pop off around the full moon, which is normal. It's a new moon. It's funny because we're moving into the new moon, but 9 times out of 10, in order to have a new beginning, you've got to end something, right? So there is going to be an ending this week for all of us, whatever that be. But it's meant to. It's meant to. What are the last messages for water sign twins? Yeah, there's going to be healing. Again, owls were coming through to me this morning as well. The thought of owls. Again, follow your intuition. Spiritually, psychically, you'll know when this energy is coming in. Fire signs. The animals are communicating with you. You need to listen. Too many. Wow. Okay, you've got a lot going on, fire signs. You've got a lot to say. Yeah, there is a confusion at how to heal this between the both of you, but I think because the conversation needs to happen. So at the moment, it's like there's war wounds between the both of you. There does need to be a communication in order to work through those situations. I do think it almost feels like, you know, those gunfights, and it's sort of like who's gonna talk first. Yeah. Sort of feels icy at the moment. It feels cold, like it's dead cold, stone cold. Try not to let it get on top of you. How are they going to relate to you? They want to heal this. There is the intent there to heal this. But at the moment, it's kind of flatlined, right? Again, it is because of the moon in Capricorn, I'm telling you. But there could be things popping off this week because we've got squaring aspects. We've got aspects being made to, and the funny thing is Chiron is actually for much of this week, it's really it's making sextiles to both Saturn, Jupiter, yes, okay, other places as well, but heavily so to Venus and Capricorn. Why? Because we're having to look at the wounds inside of our connections. So yes, it's handy that we have now Mars has left Aries. It's not going to hit us as hard, but even a few days prior to the 7th, we would have been feeling quite combative inside of those connections due to the fact we had Aries and Chiron squaring our Venus houses collectively. So romantically, spiritually feeling, there's a lot of wounds that are coming up, and it's difficult, but we're having to actually work through those things to have that new beginning. And that's sort of the sole purpose this week for you guys as twins, is to deal with those core wounds to get the best out of the circumstance. So the cards may not look super pretty straight away, especially if you go look at other readers, due to the fact that that transit is activating you guys to have a spiritual transformation. Last messages for fire signs. Yeah, you're going to get back on the path that it needs to be after the moon. Okay, you'll find it'll move. Fire signs. An old path that they're not meant to be on, they're clearing it. They're walking their truth. It's uncomfortable. Could be a home-related dynamic, fire signs. But whatever it is, it's being shaken up and changed out. Okay, earth signs. Ooh, shapeshifter. I think there's going to be a circumstance that you're going to have to think on your feet. Yeah. Okay, so for you, earth signs, shapeshifters, I always get different messages and feelings when I pull cards. It's just one of my gift is. Again, we have the moon. Big changes. Something is going to change very drastically, and I do think it's going to be quite quick. Some of you may be really paranoid, and it might come in before the moon. This could be communication, contact, information, gossip. It could even be a feeling that you're going through, but for some of you, it may be this distrust in the circumstance. But even if they're showing up and they're really grand, or they're talking all big hopes and dreams, it's kind of like you're a bit reluctant to believe, I would say. You're like, how did this change so quickly? And yes, it can. It can, but it's the energy that's coming through is like you're thinking, what? It's a bit like those late night phone calls, really. Yeah, because it's like almost nothing was really going, and then bang, it was. Nothing was really flowing. You may not want to say anything. You may be feeling you need to change, but I feel, if anything, it's more, whatever this environment is, it potentially could be quite toxic of what they're dealing with. And with them jumping out, it's almost like you might psychologically feel that have to miraculously have a life shift, and they do have the world here. So that potential very much is there. Plus, it's going to happen very suddenly with Shapeshifter. Due to the fact that things aren't flowing so greatly, it's really pushing against the grain, very much like Abraham Hicks. You're rowing, things are moving, but it's not feeling it's matching. But these emotions are pretty testing at the moment, I would say, for those that are in karmic situations. Okay, how are they going to relate to the feminine? And it could be for the masculine. How are they going to relate to counterpart? Grandfather's sky. Okay, weird message. Grandfather's sky. It's grandfather's sky in reverse. So it's not... The first thing I was shown was Saturn. Now, Saturn is the father figure of the universe. But they were saying it was similar. This is what my guides are showing me. Now, the way they're coming through, I'm hearing that they're wanting to make grand plans with you. This can be very Jupiter innate energy. It's like... It sounds like pipe dreams, and it's almost like you're going to be really perplexed. You're like, what? These dreams, it's sudden. It's we're doing X, Y, and Z. It's like they've mapped your whole life out for you. You're going to be a bit confused. They're really coming through like and it's a 360. It feels like a 360. Right? Oh, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. At a drop of a hat, might I add. So very interesting energy with them. I'll tidy these up a bit, and I'll answer any questions, and then I might pull one or two, and then I'll love you and leave you, and I'll see you back on maybe Sunday or Monday. I'll chuck a message up in the community tab. I do need to do the lives for the members as well. I've got to do a coaching session in there for those of you that are in the members room. And we can share a few private home truths in there. We call it the non-karmic room, the safe space. The safe space to do the coaching and speak openly. I'm a fire sign. I'm pretty numb and surrendering towards mine. Yeah. Yeah, it is very fatiguing at the moment. I think a lot of people are really fatigued. I did want to tell you guys that due to the energy, it's very normal what you're feeling. You might feel a little bit, up and down emotionally, attached, non-attached. Maybe some abandonment wounds coming up, but then moving through them very quickly. But the lower chakras, if from a laws of attraction energy plus an ascended point of view, balance your lower chakras at the moment. Those of you having lack of sleep, you could be operating your energy way too much during the day, and it's directly impacting you during the night. So try and find space, do some breathing exercises so that you can calm that overactive third eye, because there's a lot of third eye going on at the moment due to Mercury. And the nodes are in Gemini. Pardon me, see? So I'm tired, but I go to bed, I can't sleep. Love of goodness. That's okay, Victoria. So, if you guys are feeling left, right, you will tool the full moon. Something major can come up this week, moving into next week at a karmic nature. If you're wanting to launch anything and do anything when it comes to your business and anything like that, I do coaching. I do psychic readings, twin flame readings, astrology readings. So yes, you can book online. And I can cross-reference between yours and your love interests with theirs, what can be coming up in Ascension. Separately, you have about 2 weeks. Now, this is coming down to your career sectors, the things you're working on. You have about 2 weeks to pour that energy into it. Then we're going to have the Mercury retrograde. Now, it won't slow down. Any places you have Aquarius in your chart, that area, I'll talk about that later, and I have mentioned it inside your Zodiacs, so you can go and have a look at those. That will really be amplified for you guys at the moment. And we really do, on our side of the fence at this point, this week, get those things in order, because they can be testing circumstances. So it's like I'm seeing the Cinderella effect, and that was one of the downloads I had. Cinderella energy coming through, getting ready for that fairy tale, situations relating to fairy tales, being able to believe in them again, embody that energy. Also, with forward movement, it's going to be very fast paced, and it's going to be for the next 3 to 12 weeks, really, when you think about it, because of the placement of Mars. So upgrade, look after your health, try and get into that detox energy. Be careful. What I tend to find I try to do is drink a hot chocolate if you're getting that sweet tooth craving, and maybe even, transferring it to a point. And not that I'm a dietitian, but this is what I do for myself. If I get that sweet tooth craving, I try and eat dates or dried fruits. And it just gives you enough of a sugar spike that it hits the deck, but it's not a whole sandwich or something like that. It's not a bowl of ice cream. And it's okay. We need to detox that so that we don't feel so stagnant in the lower chakras, which starts affecting your co-creative energy. Heart chakra can come up once we move towards the 3rd week of January. Also, psychology can deeply be coming up as well. Honey and peanut butter. Yeah, but I'm trying to ditch the carbs, because the Mars energy, it's sitting really heavy on the gut. So, yeah, that's me personally. Yeah, maybe a tablespoon. Ginger candy. I'm trying to keep away from the candy. Sven was like, I feel like ice cream. I'm like, I bet you do. You can go down and you can get your ice cream. My family love ice cream. I could live without it. I would just eat sushi, and, he didn't like sushi. Masculine's always yin and yang. Yeah, I had ginger. I had ginger with my sushi and seaweed salad. I was happy with that. Yep. Yes, well, when your iron is low, you can gain it, and that's me. I've got, my hair's falling out. I was like, sod it, it's so long, it's crazy. It's like I could probably do with losing it, but it's not handy when it's, dropping out all the time. It's just dropping out all the time. I'm like I'm molting, like a cat. And tired, really tired. Opaque, look how white I am. You probably can't really see. Affects your liver function. It affects your cognitive ability. I'm surprised I'm here right now. Really? Still tuning in psychically. I will try and get to the point that each week I'm going to pre-record them, because I like to be able to channel, but I'm still coming live. So don't stress. It will get to a point I will do a whole reading based on one element for the twins, and I'll try and get that done shortly. And then I can do, even if it's a 15-20-minute read. Yes, so that's the Ascension process, and whenever I move into the new year, it always comes up for me when I purge, it's like all my hair starts falling out. And the crazy thing is, stress does not reduce iron. FYI. I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a doctor, but asking my physician, she was like, no, actually, that increases it. I was like, crazy town. I'm swearing it's Ascension. Because I even eat meat now, and I really don't like eating meat. That's another sign. You'll tend to find that when you're eating it, you feel nauseated. It's because it spikes the iron in your bloodstream and you tend to feel nauseated. And I know I need it for my bloodstream, but I just can't. Some bodies don't process it. It's just the way it is. We're phalocemic. Yeah, we're shedding. We're really shedding. Feminines need to look after their diet at the moment. They need to get their blood works done if they can. If you feel inclined to, if you feel something's off, you actually will not be able to lose weight if you have a deficiency. You will gain it. Yeah, look, even I was eating a lot of kale. I was eating shiitake mushrooms, completely vegetarian. I started the supplements. The supplements don't work for me. They give me digestive issues. But from your Ascension point of view, you've got to pick. Hi, Eddie. We're just about to leave. You've got to pick what's really going to work for you, on the diet factor. Talk to your doctor, see what they suggest. But yeah, if you do feel very fatigued and sluggish, it can cause depression. You can feel very sleepless. Then you can feel very sleepy. It can give you headaches, ringing in the ears. So yeah, go and get it checked if you feel it's you. Oh, thanks, Eddie. Yeah, those of you who have made an effort to click the bell, I really do appreciate it. So, after the video, please do feel free. Appreciate hearing about the TF perspective because, yeah. Yeah. You just woke up. Good morning, Eddie. I hope you've been looking after yourself, my friend. I will be back during the week. I'll put a community tab message up. As I said, I will get to the point I'm doing psychic messages. They will be channeled. So it will be a little bit similar to the format that I have at the moment, but I'll still continue to come live. And the more I can pre-record those energies when I tune into them, it gives me more freedom to be able to come to you live like this. And I can have long sessions and I can do super chat sessions as well. So if you're seeing changes happen on the channel and you have any suggestions, please feel free to chuck me an inbox message. You can email me. You can write it in the community tab. You can write it under a video. And yes, I have taken your advice into account. As for the astrology videos, I'm going to continue to make them at the moment, but I'm also going to change them so that they're set to a point I can have a conversational piece so you don't go, Saturn where, Jupiter what? Like my mum said, what does that mean? And I was like, sometimes it's hard to really jump out of that as a habit. So I'm taking that into mind and I'm going to try and go, okay, problem solving. People want to know about love. You want to know health. I can be honest with you. Sometimes your love domain isn't highlighted in your chart. I can say it's good or bad, but you can have heavy hitting placements everywhere else. So you could have all the time in the world for love, but there could be real heavy energies affecting your career sector. It's the way astrology is. But yes, we can tune into the high vibration octane and the low vibration. So I'll try and connect in with it on a more conversational piece, short and punchy, and I'll mention your career. I'll mention your love life, love first, because everyone wants to hear about love, career and money, and anything really major of warning dates or subjects that can come up and where it can be affecting you and what to do. And what you do with it is completely your tool. You have to do that work. We can't do that for you. Anyway, if you do want a booking, the link is below. It will start filling up, and yes, trigger points could come up this week. I'll just pre-warn you, and it is because we have a lot of squares. So if you do want that coaching and you want that support, please feel free to jump through on the website and make the bookings. I will be blocking out some time again to do recordings. So yeah, so please do go through. And again, those of you that make the effort to click the bell, I do appreciate it. And I will see you maybe tomorrow night and we can do another one. Love and light.